making their home near Chobe National Park in Botswana. Beverly Joubert and her husband Derek have the time they need to create award-winning natural history films. And for Beverly, the opportunities for still photography are almost unlimited.
I have to totally go off
你说那个河马
obviously have the advantage of a lot of time. I can sit and wait for many hours, and if nothing happens, I don't have the nagging urge of being totally frustrated that I haven't got a shot. You see and learn something different daily out in the bush. It's amazing. And if only I could capture everything that I see, I think I'd have the most unusual African wildlife photography in the world. But it's normally, you get one great shot in a couple of weeks, and that's really rewarding.
Beverly's rewards, those rare great shots, depend upon the intimate knowledge she's gained during 20 years of living in the bush.
The most important thing is to become part of this. Daily, we're out there, we're experiencing having thrills and interacting with the animals. We become an animal. I become animalistic. I stalk an animal to be able to get that shot. The one thing I do is I stalk an animal with a camera. So I don't have any means of aggression at all. And I actually think that animals do pick that up a lot of the time. There obviously, it's much harder living in the bush than living in the city. There are a lot of things you have to do, like draw your own water. You can't just turn on a tap and have hot, flowing water. There's incredible calmness in the bush, and you actually become sort of one with what is happening around you, and your spirit feels, just so great that I don't think I could ever live comfortably in the city.
When the sun sets, life in the bush is no longer so calm as the lions begin their hunt. Photographing this nightly drama is one of Beverly Joubert's greatest challenges.
You have to habituate the animals so that your presence is not a bother to them at all, and then they will carry on doing whatever they normally would be doing, and especially at night time when we're working with them. Obviously lights could be a bother, but we slowly habituated the lions to the lights, and they got so used to it that they wouldn't even turn their heads.
Even if the lions are willing to accept the Joubert's presence, capturing a kill on film is by no means simple. It requires patience, persistence, and a good deal of luck.
We have one lioness in front of us, and she's going into a low stalk. We've got one on the left, and the rest are coming in directly with her.
As this primal scene plays out in front of her, Beverly must find the presence of mind to balance her lights, her cameras, and her emotions.
To watch the lions, it took me a long time to accept what they were doing. But when you're behind a camera, you kind of forget all the emotions around you, and you just hone in into exactly what is happening in front of you, and you capture that moment and hopefully freeze it in time.
他被吃了。
Beverly Joubert, freezing a moment on film is the essence of photography. But her success depends upon finding the right moment.
Take, for instance, the lion catching the baby elephant. I'd seen that 3 times in 15 years in Botswana, and never was I able to capture it before. And then 2 years ago, it happened in front of us. I put my finger on the shutter, and I knew instantly that I got great sharpness. I knew it had never been seen before. It was totally unusual, and I just felt that everything worked out well.
Every picture tells a story, and every photographer has a favorite story about a picture.
In New Guinea, I swam into this huge school of barracudas, and they began to circle me like a big silver wall coming around like that. And I'm in the middle, and I'm shooting pictures of barracudas. And I'm saying to myself, I am the picture. The picture is me in the middle of these barracudas or someone else. I swam back to the dive boat, and I got the captain, Dinah Halstead. I said, you gotta come with me. She says, I got 6 other guests cooking. I said, you gotta come. We jumped in the water, we swam back to the barracudas. They were still there. Enormous school, 1,000 barracudas. And we swam into it, and then we began to circle Dinah. And I dove to the bottom. I said, this is a picture. And I turned around, I looked up, and there were the barracudas perfectly circling her. And I went once, twice. She held out her hand like a ballet dancer. And then they were gone. And that was the picture. I shot the whole roll. And I said, we got it. The idea of every picture telling a story. I've always believed that. Like that picture of Jane with the chimp hand. I saw it happening. I didn't know if I could capture the place to go over my shoulder. And Jane was offering her head to the chimp who would really actually be threatening to kill her. Because she studied mother-infant behavior so long, she knew exactly how to disarm him with body language. So she was able to offer him her head like that without danger. I was seeing this out of the corner of my eye, and I started walking and trying to clean up the frame while I'm walking. So when I first put the camera in my eye, there were all kinds of disturbing things that didn't make it a magic moment. And I'm just talking to myself, please, 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 please. And clicking, because you got to keep shooting just in case it goes away. And there it was for, I think, 2 frames, but only one that's like that. And I just,
National Geographic's mission is to provide its readers with a window on the world, introducing them to lands and peoples they may never visit. Often, however, the photographers must work in places where outsiders are unwelcome.
I personally like to do the photography of closed worlds, hidden worlds, societies of people that you normally don't get in to see, like the women of Saudi Arabia. Probably 99% of the women I asked to photograph said no. The situation there is that they had to get permission from their father or their husband or some male guardian. And the punishment for these women to have been photographed and have had their picture appear in a magazine like this is quite something that we in the Western world don't really understand. They could be banished from their families. They could be divorced from their husbands. They could lose their passports and their ability to leave the kingdom or to travel, just because of this perceived taboo against being photographed.
Rondonia, Howard has entered another hidden community. Here, on the fringes of civilization, impoverished farmers are leveling the rainforest in a desperate bid for a better life. But this is more than a story of environmental destruction. It's a tragic story about people.
Well, a lot of these people have farmed elsewhere, but they were crowded out by big money, corporations, big farm operations, and driven in the direction of Rondonia, where they're able to start again with their own land. I'm fortunate enough when I worked for Geographic that they kind of turned me loose. So I can wander down the road, and I can respond to the area, to the region, to the people.
To get to the heart of the story, a photographer must sometimes encroach on his subject's privacy, and that can present an ethical dilemma.
Well, going in here now, I've been taking pictures here for 10 minutes. They've never met me before in their lives, and we just kind of descend upon them, and we're intruders. We're always taking, and the best you can do, I think, my feeling is, because it's undeniable that we are intruding, so I think we have to try to do the best we can to make that intrusion worth some merit to them.
Sometimes a photographer is able to give something back. For Alan, the chance came after he photographed a young shepherd in Peru.
I was just wandering along the road, as I like to do, and came upon this boy, and he was just sobbing, all broken up in tears. And some driver had come down the road and just kind of smashed through his dozen sheep, killing about half of them. And that band of sheep represented his family's economy, and he was responsible. So here's Eduardo with half his family's economy dead down in a gulch. So they ran the picture. But what I didn't expect and what happened was that people, readers, classrooms of children all over the country, and I think some probably from outside the country, responded to that photograph with great generosity and sent in eventually, I think, $7,000, $8,000, something like that. And the international organization CARE found the boy, and they had a big celebration in which they replaced the boy's sheep, and then the rest of the money supposedly went to a fund for school children. Here was a situation in which a picture I made an actual difference in someone's life. In this case, I was no longer guilty of that, taking and not giving.
So their job is
在那个很多我们，比方说地震啊，或者像以前8·8风灾啊，像日本的大地震啊，或者中国的大地震一样，会得到很多人的捐款的回响，也大部分都是受到了媒体的大量的报道，尤其是照片啊、影像啊、新闻影片啊，所以引起这个。世界各地的人的同情心啊，这也都是透过照片。所以照片的感染力是很强，所以很多的报道摄影家就是几乎都是有这样子的一个这样子的一个动机或者这样子的一个责任感啊，希望唤起
simply to document
关于照片能够有更多的回
photographers
响。
can't help responding to the hardships of their subjects' lives.
样貌的一个困境。
This seems especially true in Africa, a continent that has suffered centuries of exploitation, but continues to inspire and challenge. Bob Kaboom has covered Africa for more than 2 decades, traveling its length and breadth, and gaining remarkable insight into its peoples and their cultures. For Kabuda, cultural barriers are made to be broken, and his camera provides a way in. This time he struggled to maintain some distance.
The danger in having a camera here in front of your face between you and the subjects is that it becomes a shield. And sometimes it's necessary, especially in a situation like the Horn of Africa, because the things that you're making photographs of are so horrifying and so depressing. And I found in several situations that there came a time when I couldn't do it anymore. I just had to put down the camera. I was too overcome by the emotion and the tragedy. I feel like if I'd been able to keep doing my job and keep making photographs when I felt that way, then you stop being human.
Caputo has chronicled the joys and the tragedies of the people of Africa, and they've given him far more good memories than bad ones.
Invariably, everywhere I go, people are incredibly generous and hospitable and welcoming. And I've never felt out of place, and I feel a real responsibility to convey accurately their lives. There are all these millions of people who look at National Geographic magazine, and often, especially in the kinds of places that I go to, this may be the only information they get about this place. So I have a real responsibility to try to be accurate and thoughtful and honest about it.
Somebody says, boy, you really work hard. I don't consider it working hard because I love it. The hardest part of my profession is if for some reason I can't do it. If I can't work, that's hard.
I think we really live in a global world now, and for me, that's the Geographic's function, is to keep telling the story of the rest of the world to people. But also, in my photographs particularly, I would like for people to get an understanding and appreciation for other people in the world.
I feel that I've been incredibly fortunate to be able to go to all these places, meet all these incredible people as a sort of emissary and a intermediary to bring that stuff back for people here. But on a personal level, I've been really lucky to have been able to live like this.
One of the things that photography has special to offer is it's a slice. It's just a little moment at a time, and you capture it in the box, and then you put it on the page.